I wrote this poem. Man, time is ticking away. My goodness. Lord gave me this poem. He said, Lord, and it's almost a prayer. It's a prayer. That's what it is. It says, Lord, set your hand upon me tonight, so to these people I may appear bright. To give a word, my method's fine, but you know Pastor Couples, he has a direct line. And let me be a sharp thinker, so careful not to tinker. And let my words be pleasantly always mindful of your people's time. Close to the spirit of rejection, but mindful of your most holy correction. Lord, let our plans be rearranged, that one life might be changed. To make a meaningful connections, so Lord, just give us protection. And if I could have done better, let me know. Preferably not in the form of a tornado. So if in the fray or the lion's throne, all for your glory simply to be known, now, O Lord, let our spirit be at ease, so the pastor, deacons, and peeps will be pleased. That's all. That's what I got. I got a note that says, do what Bill Clinton would do. There you go. I told you it would be fun. Look, I got 26 minutes left, and then we're going to have an altar time, so y'all better get ready. Tonight I want to talk to you about a grace case. And many of us can be referred to as a basket case. As my friend JC used to say, you can be referred to as a fruit case. He gets his language a little confused sometimes. But I like to think of that case that you see on television where the guy pulls out that case file and it has something inside of it. And there's all these papers and all these reports from time past. Now, depending on which end you are on the spectrum, let's say it's let's say it's one of those police shows, you know. If the officer brings it out, the person sitting there, they feel a little bit guilty sometimes. They can't figure out because they're like, what's that case file about? If you're a lawyer or something like that, you may look at it and say, this is all the information that I need. And if you're a judge, you may look at it and you say, hey, I'm going to give my final ruling on this. But tonight I want to ask you the question, are you a grace case? Tonight, is your life in need of a revelation and understanding of the grace that God has for you? And I think that if I wanted to, I could give an altar call right now, and I could ask everybody to raise their hands, and everybody would say, yes, I'm a grace case. A lot of times we look at our lives and we think to ourselves, how did it get this far out of control? Or, the other end, how did it get so good? Well, I think in the midst of all that, God is trying to teach us that He has given us His grace or favor to be able to walk through circumstances. To not shrink back and say, I can't do this, but to look at that circumstance and say, the grace of God will carry me. And when I speak of grace, I speak of the favor of God, which is unrelenting, that it is all-powerful. And I'll explain a little bit more later, but I just want you to know tonight that you are highly favored in the presence of God. And how do I know that? I know that because I'm highly favored in the presence of God, and I'm no better than anyone in this room. So no matter where you are tonight, just know that God has a plan. And as we begin this journey, I want to give you some faith and hope about what God can do and how He can take situations that you thought impossible and switch them up on you. I want to tell you, there's got to be something about this grace. There's got to be something that we see in the essence of grace because it's mentioned so much in the Bible. The Bible says He gives grace to the humble. That must mean when you humble yourself, God's going to give you something in return. The Bible says, come boldly to the throne of grace. I don't necessarily want to say right now that grace is a person or grace is this or that and the other, but for some reason, the apostle decided to give grace a throne imagery. Meaning that that's where Jesus sits, that's where Jesus can go. So if the Bible says, come boldly to the throne of grace, that you may obtain help and find help in the time of need, then it's something that we need to take note of. The apostles constantly say, it says, grace and peace be multiplied unto you. They didn't necessarily want it just to be one time, but they said, I want it to be increasing in your life. And let's think of some practical terms. When you have your mortgage and you miss the first couple weeks, you're thankful for a grace period. The relief that you feel in that period of time compares to the relief that we can feel when God is carrying us through something. But we can only know that God is carrying us through something if we have faith to believe that He's carrying us through something. How many of you know in the midst of it, it doesn't look like God is anywhere? In the midst of it, He's not anywhere at all until you come back on the other end. How many of you have come back on the other end? That's my question. Georgia. And I'll call out names because I might only get one chance to do this, so I'll be okay. I've been here 7 years. I wasn't here. Georgia had a circumstance in her life when, I'll just say it, her husband passed away. I know that had to be a hard time, and just bear with me because you love me and we know each other. You're like my mother in the spirit, right? But I have seen her flourish through seasons where other people have broken down. I have seen her excel when other people have shrunk back for small, minuscule, and dare I say, stupid reasons. And if I were to ask her today, Georgia, what carried you through? Do you think she would say, well, it was pills. It was, I had to do something. I'm pretty certain she'd say, Philip, looking back, it was the grace of God that carried me through. Just raise your hands like that if that's true. See, that's a witness right there. And I could go around this room and I could point out different people. Mark and Penny, I've seen where God work in your life. David, I've seen God work in your life. Jake back there, I've seen God work in his life. So there are so many grace cases in this room tonight. And what I want us to do is I want us to take our energy and I just want us to begin to focus on the fact that God can lead us through and bring us through whatever situation that we're in. And I want to ask you these questions. Tonight, do you feel like you're in a situation that you can't escape? Do you feel like you've lost something very special and it doesn't seem like it's coming back? Do you feel like you're facing a situation that there is no happy or foreseeable outcome? If you answer yes to any of those questions at any point in time, first of all, I want to let you know that you're human. Second, I want to let you know that you're still a Christian, because that's normal for all of us. But the most important thing I want you to know that Jesus has hope tonight. Jesus Christ has hope because of what He did, and He's coming to bring that hope to your life tonight. I tell the guys, even if you can just say thank you for just bringing me to this spot. If I go, and Joanna, don't get scared, but if I leave this place and I die tonight, I will know that I have, oh my goodness. Y'all, this is my wife, Joanna. Could you stand up for a second? That's what pastors do, That's what guest ministers do that. They have their wife stand up. And then they stand up. Baby, it may be only one time. We just need to do this as much as we can. Man of God, anointed.